Today we're going to go over some of my latest thrift store book finds. And this is becoming an addiction, but it's a cheap addiction. So if you're going to have an addiction, at least, it's cheap. This particular thrift store that we went to, paperbacks are $1 and hardcovers are $2. So we have 9 books here, and that's with Chicago sales tax, that's like $9.91, around there, right? This first book, American Veda by Philip Goldberg, really stuck out to me. Of course, it has Beatles on it, so that is appealing to me. From Emerson and the Beatles to yoga and meditation, how Indian spirituality changed the West. The flowers of Eastern practices have thrived in Western soil. The first translations of Hindu texts found their way into the libraries of Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, and from there ideas have spread from the ways of gurus and influential thinkers and artists such as William James, Joseph Campbell, and Allen Ginsberg, and J.D. Salinger. So I think this is like east to west kind of thing. Rich in detail and expansive in scope. American Veda shows how we have come to accept and live by the central teaching of the Vedic wisdom, truth is one. The wise call it by many names. It just looked really interesting to me. I like the design on it. Very cool. So, nice. Let the Great World Spin. I really love this cover. And I don't really know what it's about. Like they say, judge a book by its cover. I like the monochrome. Is the monochrome when you have 2 colors, the red and just like this manila color. It's about New York City, Manhattan. I really like the artwork. It looks cool. National Book Award winner. Very nice. Yeah. So, Devil in the White City. You can find this at like any thrift store, estate sale in the city. This is the premier Chicago book. This is Chicago. And so I always get a copy. You never know. When I was in Thailand, I left a copy of Devil in the White City at the Airbnb. Just a little, tribute. That's a good idea, right? If you're traveling, take a book, the like most famous, remarkable book from your region, from wherever you are, and just leave it somewhere else. Share it and give it to others. I do wish I would have written a note in there. I did not do that. From Chicago with love. Devil in the White City, great. If you live in Chicago, you have to have a copy of this on your shelf. Mandatory. This one is the Zahir by Paulo Coelho. And I love his book, The Alchemist. This one is about love and then lost love, drama, Paris. Ooh, Paris. Novelist in Paris, he's a great writer. One of my favorite books by him, too, is The Warrior of Light. I really dug that. It was kind of like he was submitting different, just little like quotes to a weekly column in the newspaper in Brazil. And they compiled a book of it, and it's really inspiring. I really like that. Really good. Really just an awesome author. So, got this. Not my most inspiring, haul yet, but it's good. It's good. This one's Lincoln, Gore, Vidal. This is a fiction book about Abraham Lincoln. Novel. So this is interesting. I'll see this book, like I've seen it before, and so now I got a copy of it, right? I find that there's a kind of a pattern in what I buy, and I really like these big, like nonfiction books about historic events or people, because otherwise, a lot of these books are, $30, right? And then on Amazon, you pay shipping and everything too. How about Abraham Lincoln? What a guy, right? Oh man, probably our best president, and he was sandwiched in between probably our two of our worst presidents. So you wonder during that time what we could have done better and how we could have navigated the challenges of slavery and the Civil War and post-slavery, that whole time. Heck of a guy. Self-taught. From Illinois. I used to live on Lincoln Avenue, or off of Lincoln Avenue. Everything is Lincoln, right? I bartended at a bar called Lincoln Station, right? Very highly regarded. This one is Dead Wake by Erik Larson. Also the same author who wrote Devil in the White City, right here. So this one is about, I believe, the sinking of the Lusitania, which is World War I. Yeah, so I think German U-boats were feasting on the waters of the Atlantic, and this was a luxury ocean liner. I believe it was sunk. Something I don't find. I found this book again at another thrift store. I really want to find Garden in the Garden of the Beasts. That's about like the bunker and the last days of Hitler. I think that would be super interesting to read. I think he's a tremendous writer. The way he wrote Devil in the White City was so incredible, because it would switch from like the building of the World Fair in 1893 and then like the serial killer, H.H. Holmes. So it would like interweave these stories. Really well done. So Dead Wake. This one is reading Lolita in Tehran. I feel like I've heard this book before, right? You hear about books and you know that they're good, and immersing themselves in the worlds of Jane Austen, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Henry James, and Vladimir Nabokov. Man, I am like really not getting these names right. I'm pronouncing these names right. Reading Lolita in Tehran is a remarkable exploration of resilience in the face of tyranny and a celebration of the liberating power of literature. Those are always good books. People love reading books that talk about how great it is to read books. You find that a lot in the book community. People love talking about reading of books. It's interesting, right? Revolutionary characters. What made the founders different? Yeah. Any books about the founding fathers I'd like to pick up? There's so many books written about them. Founding Brothers, I think that's another one that's really good. This one's by Gordon S. Wood. And a lot can be said about the founders. It's a really interesting concept. We're far removed from it. Historically speaking, we're not, though. We're still very close to it. But, I mean, this idea that you could, like, no king. Like, let the people, run themselves. That was a very, very revolutionary idea. And something I'm curious about, that I'm thinking a lot about, is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, or the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and how the right and the left, the right looks at the Constitution as this very like literal thing, where it should be unchanged. We should not, this is what the founding fathers meant, and we should leave it at that. And then people on the left are a little bit more abstract with it, like, well, they probably wanted it to expand and be flexible throughout the growth of the entire country as it grows, right? On the flip side, the Declaration of Independence, people on the right look at it as a very flexible thing, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We believe, I should memorize the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. and they view it more as an aspiration. Like, this is our goal as a country. This is what we want to aspire for. Whereas people on the left view it as very literal. Like, they looked at the time and this is what they said, so this is there's a contradiction because because of the time and slavery and everything going on, and there's like a lack of perspective in it. So it's really interesting how both the right and the left contradict each other during the same era of these documents that are created. I think about that. This one is Mozart. Biographies. I love biographies. People are so interesting, aren't they? People are interesting. And I don't know much about Mozart other than he was incredible, right? He was more of a child prodigy, whereas I think I'd be more interested in learning about Beethoven, because I think Beethoven was more of the innovator. But let's learn about Mozart, right? So these are some of the books that we picked up recently, and pretty good. I was very happy with this selection. A lot of unknowns I'm not too sure about, but it's good to have on hand, right?